and welcome to the Because Family podcast. I am your host, Michael Prince, the founder and director of Because Family. You can learn all about our organization at BecauseFamily.org, how we help parents better understand the digital culture their kids are growing up in, and what it's like raising digital natives. We give them tips and tricks on how to handle the technology their kids are growing up with. We provide resources. We also write FamilyTechBlog.com, where parents can go to learn the most recent information and news regarding social media, technology, video gaming, things like that your kids are doing online. So please check those places out. And to support the podcast, the best way, honestly, is to go to accountable2you.com, accountable2you.com, sign up for their accountability software, and use the promo code BecauseFamily, all one word, and that will give us a kickback every time you pay your monthly bill. And you're also using a resource that you really need to use that I highly recommend. And we'll get into why a little bit more as we go through today's episode. But speaking of today's episode, I want to talk today about prevention versus cure. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm obviously not going to be talking about health, prevention, or cure. Well, not physical health, maybe emotional health and relationship health, but definitely not physical health. But I just want to talk to you about this because I see a great problem in our society. And it comes in a lot of forms. And the number one form that I see it in personally is digital safety, tech safety, but it's in a lot of other forms, and it is the lack of interest in prevention of problems. I recently did a talk for a group of an action committee kind of thing, a community action group that does outreach to parents, and they do different things where they can bring the parents in to get training. And some of this training's court ordered, some of it's not court ordered, but they get vouchers to be able to get free school supplies or something like that. And so I went to this event excited to have this captive audience of parents, and I show up and there was one mom there. One mom. And I sat down with her and I did my whole workshop and we talked about it for 2 hours, and it was really good. It was really, I feel like it really could have been helpful for her. I think she listened well, and there's no reason it didn't help her out. But I left discouraged, not because of that event, because that was great. The talk I had with her and with the young lady who was directing the program, who was set in on it as well. I had a good talk and a good time with her. The problem was that I know that in that community, there are thousands of parents who could have used that information, but they weren't there. I've done talks at schools where the student body is hundreds, 800, 900 students, and there are 20 parents in the room when they do this free resource event. And I know the reason that attendance is low at these events is a lack of interest in prevention. And the attitude that parents often have is, well, my kids are pretty good, I don't have to worry about that. Or they just turn a blind eye because they don't want to get into that mess. I don't want to deal with my kid looking at pornography. That is something I don't want to talk to them about and mess with. I don't want to have to deal with, if my kid is sending sexts and sending inappropriate images, I do not want to have that conversation. That is messed up. So we have parents that are taking that route. We have parents that are taking the route of, well, my kids don't do that sort of thing. They're good kids. I get it. The problem isn't your kids sometimes, though. It's the other people that they spend time with. And so you need to know about these things. Or we have parents who just, oh, I can't make the time. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I don't have time for something like that. Oh, I can't make that work. Oh man, I really need to do that. But I just wish I could have time. And unfortunately, this is the attitude towards prevention in our society. And it's not just tech safety. Look at physical health. Look at our attitudes about our bodies. You know, we would rather take drugs to fix the problem we had with our diet than fix our diet. We would rather, get a surgery to fix the problem we have because of lack of exercise, then go out and exercise. Now, sometimes you have problems that can't be overcome with just the prevention, but 90% of the time, if you had a healthier attitude about it from the beginning, you would have been able to prevent this issue that you're having now. Now, I truly believe that a lot of life is a dice roll. And so, and I believe in God, and I believe that He's active in our world, but I think that He is helping us respond properly to how this chaotic world we live in rolls the dice for us sometimes. And so sometimes bad things just happen. And so cancer happens, or other kinds of chronic illnesses that couldn't have been prevented happen. But there are a lot of things in our lives that we can prevent if we have a healthy attitude towards it, and if we look at it in a healthy way. And parenting is one of those major places we need to take the look at that, because our kids can get into trouble, and they can just get into trouble because they just do. And that's fine. These things happen. Kids get into trouble, they make mistakes, they do stupid stuff. But sometimes that trouble could have been prevented by mom or dad understanding some of the things those kids were doing, where they were going, who they were going to be with, who they were communicating with online, what kind of things they were spending time playing and watching. And I have this ache inside me to help parents understand this stuff. And so whenever I go and do an event, and I usually don't have expectations for attendance. I don't go into these things going, this is going to be awesome, there's going to be 100 people there, it's going to be wonderful. I go in and I'm like, all right, whoever's there is going to get my best no matter what. And they do. I feel like they do. I do my best to give them as much information as they can handle, because I have more inside of me than they can handle, but to give them as much information that they can handle, let them ask questions so I can answer their questions and be as relevant as possible. I do that no matter if there's one person in the audience or 150. And when I do that, but when I go and it's only one, I don't feel bad for me because I had to do this workshop with one. I feel like it's whatever, it's fine. What bothers me is that there's so many parents out there, some who said they'd be there and weren't, some who got all the information about it, could have been there, but they're doing something else, some who didn't think it worthy to ask off work for a couple hours to come do it, or to tell their husband to watch the kids so they could go do it, or whatever. They didn't find it important enough to make the time to come do it. And I'm not saying they didn't find me important enough. I'm saying they decided that protecting their kids from these dangers online was not important enough for them to come. Here's when I get phone calls. I get the phone call after the kid has looked up sex on the school computer. Then I get the phone call that says, my son did this thing and I need you to help me. After the daughter has been caught sending inappropriate images, after the son has been spending 14 to 16 hours a day on the weekends playing video games, I start getting the phone calls. How do I set time limits? How do I do this? What can I put on the filter to protect my kids? And that I'm getting calls after the damage is done. I'm not a body shop for your car. I'm not I can't think of another example. I'm not the phone repair guy that fixes the glass on your phone after you've dropped it. This is a perfect example. I have an iPhone 6s Plus. I need a better one. I need a newer one. I'm the tech guy who's way behind on my own technology, but that's just what the budget allows, right? And so I know the technology. I just don't have it in my hands ever. But I had my iPhone 6s Plus. I had it for a year and a half. Things have been great. I've loved the thing. It's been really good. And I don't like cases, because I think these phones are sleek and slick and sexy, for lack of a better term. They're so nice. They feel good in your hand. They're just really awesome. And I hate putting a nasty case on it to make it all bulky and weird and annoying. And so I don't like to do it. So I don't put a case on it. And I even would argue, it's easier to drop it because it gets stuck in my pocket with the rubber sides of these cases, and it falls on the floor because it got stuck in my pocket. And so anyway, one day I stop at Panera, and I stand up and my phone flies off of my lap and the screen cracks in both corners. And I think, oh no. And I had just a few weeks before that been to AT&T to talk about upgrading my phone, and they were like, oh yeah, when you're ready you can come on in and we'll give you, this one looks like it's in great condition, we'll give you a trade-in value, a couple $100 that'll take off the monthly fee, that'll be nice. I'm like, yeah, it's great because it's in great condition. And now I'm like, no, that's not gonna work anymore. And so I get home and I told my wife what happened. I get home and Melinda had already ordered me a case for my phone. And so now I have a big OtterBox, a big ugly OtterBox on my phone so it doesn't break anymore. But here's what I did. I didn't take safety measures until after the damage was done. And this is what parents do when they put off their preventative measures, whether it be internet safety or other things, diet or exercise or time spent with their kids or whatever. If you don't take advantage of the early exposure to the healthy attitude, if you don't say, hey, this is how we have a healthy attitude with our phones and our devices while your kids are young and while it's early and before there's a problem, then you're asking for that problem to come. And then I'm going to get the phone call that says, hey, Mr. Tech Guy, can you help me? My son did this, or my daughter's talking to this person, or I caught my kid doing this thing and I need to block them from that anymore. And I have to say, yeah, I can help you, but the damage is done. So now sometimes they need even counseling or something like that after these things happen, and it's too late. But if you had done it 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when your kid was 7, 8, 9 years old, you wouldn't be having this problem when they're 13, 14 years old, having to rescue them from the damage that's been done. It just breaks my heart, and it's tragic to me to see parents have to backtrack to try to fix some of these problems. And all I want to do is help you prevent it. I am in this job for prevention. My job is prevention. It's not, here's how you can spy on your kid after you've busted them doing something wrong. My job is, here's how you can talk to your child about what it means to be safe and smart online. Put in filters and accountability software and monitoring software and things like that so that everyone knows that everyone else knows what's going on. So it's preventative. It keeps them from seeking out things that they shouldn't. It keeps them from talking to strangers. It keeps them from all that. But it also alerts you if something like that happens. And so you know it. You know about it. And you can jump in there and make it better and help fix it. That's my job. My job is not to come in when something's already broken and help you put it back together. I'll do my best, and I'm actually working on a certificate as a counselor so that I can help do those things when the time comes. But if I can help prevent, that is my heart. That is what I want to do. That's why I write FamilyTechBlog.com. That's why I started Because Family. That's why I do the Because Family podcast. And that's why John and I now do Family Tech Update, the other podcast at FamilyTechBlog.com. That's why we do this stuff, is because prevention is our heart. Not repairing what's been broken, but keeping it from getting broken in the first place. There's a lot of places where you can get repairs. There aren't a lot of places right now that I'm aware of that are helping you fix these problems before they damage your kids. So go to BecauseFamily.org. Learn how you can get a workshop done. Learn how you can get me to do a Skype workshop for your organization or for your church. Whatever. Let's do this preventative maintenance. You get your car's oil changed and all that stuff, because if you don't, when you're going to have a breakdown. This is your digital oil change. That sounds invasive, but this is this is the way to maintain your digital life and what you do online and protect your kids, because they're playing Fortnite, they're on social media, they're doing all these things, and you need to have something in place to keep them safe. Thank you so much for listening to the Because Family podcast. And sorry if I just yelled at you this whole time, but I'm passionate about this. and I want these things to be better. So thanks for listening. Check us out at BecauseFamily.org. All the social media places, we're just BecauseFamily, all one word. And check out accountable2you.com, promo code BecauseFamily, to get your accountability software, the best in the business, and also help us out a little bit. So thanks a lot. We'll see you next time on the Because Family podcast. God bless.